we are here is that this meeting that was called off was bogus. The charter tells us that we have to have 2 meetings. We have to have 2 meetings in the course of a month. So the meeting that was canceled tonight was, as far as we know, the first time that a meeting was canceled without there not being a quorum present, and even not having a quorum only happened once. So 2 times in the history of the city of Taylor that a meeting has been canceled. Essentially, what the chairwoman said was there weren't enough items on the agenda to waste this time.
Actually, that's not even 100% accurate. What was disclosed to me was there were no items on the agenda. And we would just come in for the purposes of turning on the cameras, and IT would have to come in.
Okay, now so
No,
that's the reason that you agreed that there was no reason to have a meeting.
Well, there was not even any agreement. There were several texts that took place in the course of Friday of, are you going to be in town? Are you going to be in town? If you're not going to be in town, we're not going to have enough to have a quorum. And of course, knowing I am going out of town, but not until Thursday. I scheduled my trip around the city council meeting. So I would have been here, and they were very well aware of that. So finally, the texting stopped and a phone call took place. And that phone call, there was an exchange of, we don't have any agenda items, so we're going to have to cancel the meeting. I asked for, has there been a legal opinion? Yes, there has, although I haven't seen it. I don't know about you. There apparently has been a legal opinion weighed in that this, in fact, is legal and that we can cancel the meeting. So again, I don't set the agenda. I don't put in the agenda items. I show up on Tuesday nights when there's meetings. They apparently made a decision to cancel.
Yeah.
Is it not possible to, I mean, I was right, I checked the city website just before I left. Is there any reason why it wasn't posted on there to say it was
You'd
canceled?
have to ask the councilwoman,
That was
the
a
chairwoman.
nice notification.
Yeah.
I noticed that there wasn't any agenda, you know, that you could click on to print out. Thought that was a little odd, but.
Well, you know, what happened, I'm sorry, Chuck?
What was the other meeting that they didn't have a quorum?
Currently it
Jeffrey
was,
was trimming his rose bushes.
No, he was actually,
Oh, he's building a deck.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
that would be
I
And
misspoke.
it was for
the mayor.
I knew he
So when the mayor was a councilman, they didn't have a meeting also? Because
Correct.
he didn't show up?
There were 3 people present. I was here that meeting. Then Chairman Geis was here, and there was one more. I think it was Councilman Stapleton, I believe. And the other 4 were not in attendance, and of course we couldn't have a meeting then as well.
What,
A few years ago.
wouldn't it have been a proper way to have the meeting, and if the people didn't have a quorum, then you would dismiss it?
That's
Wouldn't
what the
that be
charter
proper?
says, yes, yes.
That's what the charter says.
Yeah, and I think that's where she was going with the, we'd have to come in, we'd have to power everything up, we'd have to have IT here, we'd have to put them on payroll. I think that's where she was going with the phone call to me. But of course then followed it up with, we have a legal opinion that we wouldn't be violating the charter by canceling the meeting.
The legal opinion is based on the Open Meetings Act.
Have you seen the legal opinion?
I happened to be working in the clerk's office when the call was made to Cheryl from the clerk asking, have you talked to Martin? And the answer came back, Marion repeated it, and it came back, yes, he said, as long as we post the reason for the cancellation per the Open Meetings Act, we're legal. It has nothing to do with the charter.
So
So
the reason was no agenda items, but there obviously are agenda items, because wasn't there things postponed? We have a clerk, we don't have a clerk, and we have the fireman thing, we have the police officer thing, so they're
Yeah, minutes of the last
Yeah,
meeting.
no, but those are not necessarily agenda items. Those are tentative agreements that they still have yet to bring forward. They never placed them on the agenda, except the command contract they did several months ago, and that was it. Now the items of postponement, absolutely, those should have been on here, and we should have been at least taking action on those.
Should have had a meeting.
Because those are to a date certain.
I have, I've got a list that's been compiled severally of things that should have been taken, should have been on the agenda tonight. the very first thing, the absolute immediate need is to fill that clerk's position.
Correct.
We don't have the same luxury that we had with regard to the treasurer's department, where the mayor could just simply violate the charter and have one of the paid employees do the signing of checks. In this case, we've got an election, a national election that has to be held, and nobody that has experience as a clerk to do that. We will have to come up with somebody immediately, not down the road. And this idea of having open, send us a letter and we'll consider you, we'll come in and interview in public. I think that was an attempt at something different and not a good plan. So I think we moved directly toward getting the clerk in place, and that should have been done tonight.
The charter states that.
That's exactly correct. The charter does say that. We didn't know until after all of these little pieces were in place that the mayor was going to veto our council. After Cheryl had done her, it'd be nice, I've got other plans for this weekend and so forth. I come in, I'm talking to the mayor at about 4 o'clock on Friday, and Mary Ann indicates that the mayor has vetoed the resolution for us to hire an attorney. And the letter that comes with that is really incredible, because it says, if you disagree with the corporation council can't possibly agree to somebody that would take the opposite position. So according to their thinking, council could never, ever, ever get an attorney hired, because the corporation council knows that he serves at the will of the mayor, and the corporation council has seen ample evidence, in fact, that this mayor will fire anybody he feels like. So we got the firefighters TA was not necessarily something that we would be voting on tonight, but something we certainly should have been talking about last night at the study session, which also was.
And if I could interject.
Sure.
That apparently was agreed upon on Thursday evening, and we still have not seen an official copy of that.
But that's not
So,
unusual.
It's very common that we'll get it the night before and we'll have a full contract and expect it to be taken action on the next meeting, as it sits for 2 weeks.
And it'll be your fault if you don't approve it.
Right.
Because you got it that
And you
night.
haven't read it.
Or
You
5
haven't-
o'clock the day before.
Right.
We've got, there is the CDBG action plan that should have been taken care of at this meeting. The minutes from June 16th and the special meeting on June 26th. And there are charter regulations that deal with how soon those minutes have to be dealt with. So once again, we'll be in violation of the charter. Payment of bills. And also the second reading of the police chief's fake marijuana ordinance that was supposed to be taken care of tonight. All of those items could have and should have been dealt with at this meeting tonight, but it was canceled. I'm not big on this. It's very important to me that when you are on the council, you recognize that at the very first meeting of the council, you decide when you're going to have your meetings. We decided it was going to be the first and third Monday for study session and Tuesday for the regular meetings. And then you go about putting together your agenda. If you have something that you've got to do during that period, you miss a meeting, you eat it. I missed 2 meetings, one when I was in Egypt and another when I was in Russia.